Welcome to a Sunny Side Up Life podcast, a show for the woman who is ready to live an abundant life full of freedom and positivity. I'm SAMI Womack, and I'm on a mission to help you break free from survival mode, gain financial freedom, stay motivated, and focus on what matters most. Join the movement and let's start living on the brighter side of life together. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, we are talking about how your mindset is holding you back. So you guys might be familiar with the term scarcity mindset. It's something that we talk about here a lot. It's something that comes up a lot during my coaching calls. And I thought that it would be great to break this topic down a little bit more and just help you guys through this a little bit more and encourage you how to break free of this scarcity mindset and what you can actually do to kind of overcome it and replace it with some better habits. So, a scarcity mindset is essentially the belief that there will never be enough. And this results in feeling fear and stress and anxiety. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Yeah. It's just kind of this idea, especially we find this coming up with money a lot, but it comes up in other areas as well. But it comes up in money a lot because it's kind of this idea that there's never going to be more. Okay. And then that leads to fear. That leads to kind of hoarding that money, holding on to it too tightly. It leads to obviously overwhelming stress, anxiety, and all of this you think that money is to blame for that, but it's not. Actually, the scarcity mindset that you have just affects your money. Okay. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. And we start to kind of see this sometimes spill over into other aspects too. It's not just money, right? This could be with love. This could be with physical belongings. This could be just with your self-love, your personal spiritual journeys, all of these kinds of things. And sometimes when we're in this state, we feel like, well, that's just the way it is. Like everyone feels this way. There's no other option. This is just normal. It's just, money's just stressful. Being an adult is just stressful. It's just, I'm just always going to feel anxious. And sure, maybe some level of that is true, but you don't have to constantly stay in this state of scarcity. Yeah, you'll probably sometimes go back to that state because what do we talk about here? Like there are natural ebb and flows of emotion. And we're not going to preach toxic positivity here. We're not going to say that you're never allowed to feel negatively, that you're never allowed to, slip into a scarcity mindset or experience anxiety. But we don't have to stay there, okay? It is natural sometimes to slip back to that. But also there are habits that you can adopt to pull yourself back out of it when it's happening. Even I experience these scarcity mindsets, okay? Even I experience these states of negative mindset, and I have to actively pull myself back out of it. It's not always a natural reaction to pull ourselves back out of it, but there are things that we can do. We'll talk about that again in a couple seconds. So instead of, well, that's just the way it is, we can change our frame of mind and we can seek out this abundant mindset. We can seek out this happiness, this true positivity, not toxic positivity, but legit joy, right? And you're not alone in these thoughts. You're not alone in these negative thoughts. It is normal. But the reality is that those thoughts and these patterns are holding you back from your potential. They're holding you back from actualizing those beautiful, amazing dreams and goals that you have for your life. And we don't want that. We don't want you to live in a state of scarcity. We don't want you to live in a constant state of anxiety, right? That is not abundant living. Abundant living is the goal here, okay? And so, okay, let's talk a little bit more about what scarcity is specifically. And I think that when we identify it and we put a name on it, we put a definition on it, it's so much easier to start to find it, right? And I think that when you start to kind of flip that switch on, you're going to start to notice it more and more in yourself and in other people. And you're going to start to notice it. That way, if you recognize it, you can start to actively combat it, right? You can start to actively work against it. So scarcity is basically the state of being scarce, the state of feeling like things are in short supply, whatever that thing is. Is that money? Is that love? Is that, physical belongings? Is that food? Is that time? What is that? A lot of times it's all of them. And we live in a constant state of anxiety, right? Probably been there before. A scarcity mindset is the belief that there will never be enough, resulting in feelings of fear, stress, and anxiety. And we think, it's just normal, right? Like we said, we think it's just normal to have these, to feel this way. Of course, it is normal to feel these from time to time. And it's important to understand that you can actively choose to overcome them, okay? Maybe your natural state is going to be, oh my gosh, there's not enough money. But as soon as you think that, you go, no, wait, stop, brain. We'll make more money. There is an endless supply of money in this universe, right? There's an endless supply. There are people who literally have billions of dollars. It's not so crazy to think that I could have a couple 100,000 of that billion. It's not too crazy to think that I could have a couple million of that. There are trillions upon trillions of dollars in the world. It is not insane to think that I could have a million of that, trillions and trillions. When we think about it like that, we're like, oh yeah, I guess there is plenty. There's plenty. And so when we start to think, there's no way that I could ever possibly have enough to buy this house. There's no way that I could ever possibly have enough to retire. Sure, think that for a second because, hey, we're human. It's okay. But then immediately go, nope, flip that switch. I think it was, I can't remember what book it was now, but it doesn't matter. I think there was, talking about, have you ever heard that pain factor where it's like you wear a rubber band on your wrist and you pop yourself in the wrist every time you think a negative thought? I can't remember what book this was. Maybe it was like The Power of Positive Thinking. Something like that, where you just pop yourself like every time. And it's almost like that reaction of like your cat starts scratching the furniture, so you spray him with water bottle kind of thing. Like, it doesn't really hurt you, but it's a little bit of a reminder of like, nope, we don't think that way anymore. Nope, that's not okay. We're going to stop, and just kind of that little bit of a pain factor. Maybe it was You Are a Badass. I cannot remember. It doesn't matter. Okay, guys, focus. So we just have to retrain our brain. We just have to combat those negative scarcity thoughts and remind ourselves that we live in an abundant universe. Do you know how big this universe really is? Do you know how big our galaxy is? How big our planet is? And our planet is still yet a speck, okay? There are endless possibilities. And for you to think that all of your hopes and dreams are not possible is ridiculous. They are yet a tiny, tiny speck in the grand scheme of the universe. It's not too much to ask. It's not too much to hope and dream for. Whether that is a monetary value, whether that is $1 million, for example, whether that is all the love and belonging and purpose and joy and, all of the other things. There's plenty. There's more than plenty. There's more than plenty. And for us to think that it's not possible, that there's not enough, is just completely ridiculous. It is. And I hear this come up so much with my coaching clients, and especially in the beginning of a session. And what's so amazing to me is to see the natural progression through a 12-week session. About 6 weeks in or so, sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 8, depending on the specific person, but about halfway in or so, that scarcity starts to slip away because they've spent a month and a half or so taking control and realizing that they are actually in control. They are allowed to be in control of the situation of their life. And that spills over into so much more than money. It's your life. Get your hands on it. Grab it. Take control. Okay? And at first, a lot of times, I see people keeping too much money. What? Too much money? Yeah. It is like this thing that happens. And I see this with probably about half my clients. I've seen people keep $50,000, literally $100,000, all the way down to $10,000, which depending on your income level, $10,000 is an insane amount of money to keep just laying around, right? All the way up to, for some people, that's $50,000 or $100,000. It doesn't matter the exact amount. The point is the ratio of what that amount of money is to your income, to your expenses. Either way, to all these people, it's a lot of money, okay? So whether that's $10,000 or $50,000, keeping this lump sum of money in their checking account, like the account that they're going and swiping their card to buy groceries with, and they've just got like a year's worth of extra money in there, or 3 months worth of extra money in there, just sitting there. And I'm like, what's that about? Well, it just makes me really nervous to not have it in there. Okay, yeah, I get that, because hey, I believe in the importance of an emergency fund. I believe that $1,000 in your emergency fund is not very much money, because how long could we really live on $1,000? Okay, I get that. I'm a modern woman. I'm not living in the Dave Ramsey 1980s. $1,000 is a lot of money. Got it. Okay. But $10,000 just sitting there with the potential for you to get a wild hair and just go to Target and spend like $500 on nothing. That's a little scary to me. And to me, I'm like, why isn't it in a savings account? Why are you holding on to 3 or 4 credit card debts while you have this big lump sum of money just sitting here? And the response is, well, I just can't let it go. What if I don't make any more? Yeah. And you realize that it's a scarcity mindset. A lot of times this conversation will immediately lead to, well, when I was growing up, things were just really tight. My parents struggled, and then I don't want to struggle like that. So I'm going to hang on to this money. Okay, I get it. I totally get it. I grew up struggling with money, and so did my husband. We both of our families grew up struggling with money. And we struggled with money for the first few years of our marriage, right? Get it. I totally get it. But you guys, what you're doing is you're hoarding money. You're hoarding it. You're squeezing it so tightly that you're suffocating it. Does anything about that sound abundant? Does anything about that sound like we're in alignment with a truly abundant mindset? That anything is possible with money? Nope. It sounds to me like we're hoarding it. We're squeezing it so tightly that it cannot breathe. Because what if it leaves? What if it goes away? What if it runs away from me? What if this money leaves and never comes back? Do you hear the anxiety in that statement? That's anxiety. That's fear. That's stress. That's, I got this lump sum of money and I'm just going to hold it. But what is that money doing for you? It's not doing anything for you. It's not earning you money in a savings account or an investment. It's not saving you money by paying off your debt, carrying around 2 or 3 or 4 credit cards. Some of them have 20% interest on them. Some of them have 15% interest on them. But you're going to hoard that $20,000? Why? Okay, yeah, sure. Keep some for your emergency fund. Of course. If you have absolutely no credit card debt, sure. Sure. If you already have, your retirement going, like you're good, you're not worried about it, sure. Keep $10,000 laying around. Why not? But when you're carrying around credit card debt, when you're not investing, when you're like, this isn't really my emergency fund. I still need to actually save an emergency fund. No, friend, that could be your emergency fund. But why is it like right here in your checking account where you could accidentally spend it on things that are not truly an emergency? Why is this happening? This is a scarcity mindset. We're holding on too tightly to what we currently have for fear of letting it go. Okay? It is in the same sense that, sure, when someone says, well, I just spend whatever, it doesn't matter, everyone's quick to be like, that's unhealthy behavior with your money. But it's like the opposite. They're like, oh, that's okay. No. It's the same metaphor of thinking that starving yourself is not healthy. Okay, that's what you're doing when you're not spending anything. Okay, that's what you're doing when you're not spending anything. It's the same as binge eating also is not healthy. Okay, starving yourself, never spending money is not healthy. Binge eating and consuming too much is also not healthy. It's the same with money. Our goal in life should be moderation. It should be balance. That is our goal. Okay, that is our goal. And so when you start to switch gears with this mindset, when you start to think, if I took this, I have this $10,000 sitting here. Okay, sure, let's keep like 3 for our emergency fund. Let's keep like 5. Well, depending on where you're at with your debt and things like that. Let's just say we keep 3. Okay, let's go ahead and take that other 7. Let's pay off these small credit cards. Sometimes that might be all of your credit card debt. Sometimes that might be a good chunk of it, right? Let's pay it off. Let's save ourselves that interest every month. Let's get some of those minimum payments gone. And then what's going to happen? All of a sudden, you've got more money because you're not wasting money on minimum payments. You're not wasting money on interest. And guess what? You can fill that money bucket back up. That $3,000 all of a sudden, well, hey, now it's 4 all of a sudden. How did that happen? Because I got rid of those credit cards, right? Or I put that money in a savings account. It's earning me a little bit of interest. It's out of arm's reach, so I'm not accidentally tapping into it every single month, like we probably are if it's in our checking account. And all of a sudden, wow, that $3,000 is still there because I didn't accidentally spend it. Oh, hey, I earned a couple dollars in interest. Cool. right? And all of a sudden, that's an abundant mindset with your money. Not only do I still have this money, I'm making more, I'm getting farther, I'm actually achieving my goals of paying off debt. I'm growing, you see. And when you're hoarding that money there, you're not growing, you're staying stagnant. You're so worried about standing in that one spot and squeezing the life out of that money that you're not getting anywhere else. There's more money to be made. There's even more. There's so much potential for growth and abundance. Remember that we live in an endless universe. We literally don't know where the universe ends. So why would you think that $10,000 that you're hoarding is the only money that you'll ever in life make? Come on. Come on. Don't sell yourself that short. You've got this. You've got this. There's so much in this world. There's so much potential for growth. And that can be you. You are worthy of that. You are worthy of that potential. You are worthy of an abundance. You are worthy of it. Stop selling yourself short with this scarcity mindset. It's holding you back. It's holding you back from your true potential. It's holding you back from the things that you say are your dreams. You say they're your dreams. You get butterflies in your stomach when you think about it. So why are you holding yourself back from reaching those? Why are you letting scarcity drive the car? When you know where you're going, you know where you want to go, let yourself go there. Stop letting scarcity hold you back. So every time you start to think a scarcity thought, you start to practice a scarcity habit, pop your metaphorical rubber band on your wrist and say, nope, not anymore. That's not how we do. That's not how we do here. We have big dreams to achieve, and that's where we're going. That is your true potential. That is truly abundance. That is what life is all about. All right? You've got this. Okay. That's all for me today. I will talk to you guys next week. Bye, guys. Thanks for hanging out for another episode of a Sunny Side Up Life podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend because you never know who needs to hear this message. If you haven't already, please leave a review and subscribe. Reviews and subscribers are what help the podcast grow and what help new ladies find our community. And again, thanks for hitting play on this episode and for investing some time in yourself today. Remember that I'm always here to support you and I'm always cheering you on along the way. Don't forget that everything that we mentioned in this episode will be linked in the show notes. All right, that's all for me this week. Bye, guys.